Hey there, this is John Gibson with FatLossEvolution.com, and I'm coming to you with another interview. This time the interview is with Ann. And back in April, Ann started my Bod-e-Volv coaching program, and she's seen awesome results. Now here's the thing with Ann. She's tried a bunch of programs. All of these lose weight in 90 days or 6 weeks or whatever the program might promise. And the thing is with her, she saw awesome results with all of them. She probably could have been one of the amazing before and after pictures that you'll see on all those infomercials. But the thing is as soon as the program was over, she always gained the weight back. Until she made a realization during the Bod-e-Volv transformation program. And you can find out what that realization is during this interview that I did with her. So that I don't keep you waiting any longer, let's go watch the interview. So first, I guess let's start off with this. Tell me your backstory. What led up to you joining Bod-e-Volv and why you wanted to do that?
Okay, well, I'm a mother of four, and I grew up on a farm in Eastern Washington with lots of cousins, and I grew up on, like the cream soup, sour cream type diet, I would say.
Uh-huh.
And so and my parents have always struggled with their weight, and I've seen kind of the effects of being overweight on your body. So I've always wanted to have a good body, like a healthy body, so that I could do things with my kids, go on hikes and keep up or things like that. So I have had trainers in the past and it worked, but it was really expensive. And usually once I quit the trainer, I gained weight back.
Mhm.
And the other thing was they never really were good about teaching me really what to eat. It was kind of just like something on the sideline where I'd put stuff into a program to see like calorie count or whatever, but never really taught good health. So when your program came across, I was at that point where I had done a program for like 12 weeks and lost weight and then kind of gained it all back because I was like, oh, good, yay, I can eat whatever I want. And so it's been really good for me. When I saw that something about craving sugar and junk food, I was like, oh, this is definitely me. So I need to try this.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay. So you're kind of the kind I guess you would say the yo-yo dieter where you would do something for a
yeah,
short period of time and then okay. And to be honest, I mean that's the way when I first started training, I was the exact same way as your trainers. It was you just need to exercise and yeah, go count calories, you'll be fine. But as I learned
yeah.
more, I realized there's a whole lot more to it. So I mean, okay, Sonny, you've seen really good progress in this program. I mean, your pictures, your before and after pictures, or your progress pictures so far look really good. You can definitely
Yeah.
see that you've made a lot of change and you've put a lot of effort into it. But for you, what do you feel was the biggest turning point for you?
Ooh, I've been thinking about that this morning because you sent me those questions, and there's a couple things. Number one was when we did the food cleanse of our house, and I thought, well, this is okay. I can have this stuff in my house for my kids because cereal and stuff, that's really easy.
Uh-huh.
Stuff I didn't want to get rid of it. But then when you said something about teaching your children about being healthy all the time, or now, so that when they're my age, they're not just barely learning this. I thought, oh, this is really something I need. So that was a big turning point for my family, especially when we got rid of a lot of stuff. Um, and also just the talking about mindful eating and hunger, because see, I've I'm definitely an emotional eater, but also especially like if I'm bored, I'm always
Uh-huh.
hungry, and so it was really good for me to learn some tricks. And also, as we've done mindful eating, I'm not perfect at it, but I notice that when I'm doing a really good job of it, I'm full a lot quicker. I stay full a lot longer. I don't feel like I'm starving myself, which I think with a lot of other things I've done, I feel like, oh, I'm so hungry. I ate an hour ago. And I don't feel that way generally on this program.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So, okay, when you cleaned your kitchen out, because I remember at the very beginning of the program, I like to add things in. So we add vegetables in, we
Yeah.
make sure you're eating the right stuff. But then we got to that portion, and that was like the first thing I asked people to take away, and it was like an uproar of, "What are you doing? How could you ask me to do that?" How was that for you? I mean, you said it was a big turning point, but I guess what was your mindset when you decided to do it?
Well, it was kind of hard because um, Like Molly, I love to bake. I'm not a pastry chef, but I love to bake. That's something I'm really good at.
Uh-huh.
So I was like hesitant to get rid of all that stuff because that's something I like to do. But I thought, well, I know this stuff is bad for me, so I do need to get it out of my house. And I am totally the person that if it's in my house, I will eat it. And you were totally right about that. The other thing was, just like you said, in the program that it was good for not just me but my whole family. That really hit hard to me. But the other thing is we found lots of things to eat, and I used to buy lots of produce before, but I think I threw a lot of it out because we didn't get to it. And I've also found that I really enjoy things much more than I did before. Like there's just so much more flavor to food. I enjoy my veggies. I can eat them raw and I'm fine with that.
Hmm.
I don't have to have them some special way or, lots of cheese or something on them like I used to. And, but also just the idea of like the things that are in cans or packaging, that also really hit home to me because I am totally a person that was like, oh, this is good for me. It's got this in it. It's fine. It says it's whole grain. And I knew better because my background is nursing. So I knew these things weren't good for me, but I needed someone to say, yeah, it's time to get rid of it. Check it out, see what it really is. And it's been good for me that way.
Good. I mean, you've done a good job with that. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, so now we're at New Year's resolution time. So beginning of the new year, everyone's making resolutions, and most people are going to fail. If you look at history, most people fail at that. So, in your opinion, what are most women doing that's, I guess, wrong, or why are they struggling to lose weight when people like you and you mentioned Molly and some other people in the program are seeing good success?
Number one, I think, is that we're really hard on ourselves. And that's another thing I think that's great about the program is you talk about it's okay to fail, it's okay to make a mistake, but then, name it and recognize it and move on. And I think that a lot of women, they go full bore into trying to lose weight. They say, I'm not going to eat this and this anymore, but they don't take it out of their kitchen. I'm going to exercise every day. And once they miss one day or eat one thing, then they're like, oh, I've blown it. I'm done. I'll start again in a week. And I just think with your program, it's something where you're learning a habit every 2 weeks and you can really
Hmm.
concentrate on that and really work on it. And if you fail, it's okay. You can pick yourself up and try again because I have made many failures. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. So, but I think that in general, I just think we're too hard on ourselves. And also, I think everyone's looking for a miracle. We see movie stars and celebrities who've lost, 50 pounds in 2 weeks. And that's not the way most people's bodies work,
Hmm.
and so that would be, and losing weight should be a gradual thing, not I lost 10 pounds every week thing for most of us.
I agree with you, and I like that you said that you were not perfect because the problem is I think a lot of people see some of these before and after pictures, or they look at what, like you said, the celebrities are doing, and then they think to themselves, well, I have to be perfect like they were perfect to get there. And your progress was an imperfect progress, but it was
Yeah,
progress. That's the cool
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
So
And
and
I'm definitely a person who doesn't like to fail. I know, like, especially with the weights, I've, I've exercised my entire life. I'm not perfect, and I know things to do at the gym, but it's good to have someone tell you, do these things. And then when you talked about the max reps, like, I know I had talked to you about this before in emails, just that I have a hard time not being able to do that 12th rep or whatever, to me that's failure. And so it's been really good for me to learn it's okay to not, you know, do everything perfectly. And that for me has been a big improvement too. I've seen more weight loss when I've really amped up my weights and failed a little bit.
you know that's interesting you say that because you have to fail to be able to progress. Because
Yeah.
especially with weights, the funny thing is, I'm seeing this more and more with men. Also, it used to be just kind of isolated to women, where women were afraid to add more weight on. But now I'm seeing more men do the same thing because they don't want to look like bodybuilders, but they don't realize how much it really takes to get there. But so they'll do the same thing. They don't want to have to drop the weight or to feel like they can't finish that last rep just because for men it's someone might be looking at me.
That's their ego.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And for you, you didn't want to fail, and you felt like that was not able to get that 12th rep was a failure. But in a sense, with exercise, you have to get to the point. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you do get to
right.
that point where you do have that failure. So
Exactly.
that's cool. That's really cool. So throughout this program, how has your life changed? Because I mean, you're still going through it. You've got about another 2 or 3 months left that you're doing the program. Um, so how has your life changed since the beginning of this program?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, a couple things are, one thing I really like about the exercise in itself in the program is it's shorter than the exercise programs I did before. Like when I worked with the trainer, I was lifting weights or doing weights for an hour, and I like how it really, if I'm not taking breaks and really going hard, I can really do it in between 20 and 30 minutes. It depends on what their thing is and what's
Hmm.
going on at the gym, I guess. Um, I mean, I've had things change in my life. Like stressful things happen, but I felt like with the exercise and the food and eating, that's been really helpful to me for stress. Um, I have more energy than I realized. And even this week, when we're talking about being a unitasker, I've just noticed like, there's a lot of stuff that I have in my life that I don't need to have in my life all the time. Like I don't always need to have the TV on or the radio on in the background like I thought I did to be happy
Uh-huh.
about doing my chores or whatever. Um, I don't know. I mean, I have energy and that's great. And I always like when I get into shape because then I feel like I can do more things with my kids. We do a lot of biking, a lot of hiking, and I can keep up and kind of even now I'm now working in the Cub Scouts and it's good to be able to show the boys, you can do this. If I can do it, you can do it kind of thing. So I don't know if that makes sense, but those are the things I can think of.
Yeah, no, no, that's
But
really good.
also, maybe some self-confidence in understanding that it's okay, I can do hard things and I'll fail sometimes, but I can pick myself back up and try again.
Uh-huh. No, I,
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And I was just thinking about you. Some of the stuff you've said to me before, it shows that your family is really active. You were talking. I remember you emailing me about hikes you guys went on, or I can't
Yeah.
remember if you said something about mountain biking or not. But I know you guys have gotten up in the mountains and done some things. But how
Yeah.
was it before? So before the program, were you guys as active?
We were active, but sometimes probably I was dragging my feet a little bit more about going on hikes or um, I don't know, my husband's a really active, he's a lean eating machine kind of type person, so it doesn't really affect him as much, but I think he's even noticed like more energy. My kids have noticed more energy. That's the other thing that's kind of interesting. I have asked my oldest, who's 10, do you miss like eating these things or what do you miss? And he said, I miss cereal and crackers at first, but I don't really miss them anymore. And he's kind of become a food snob at school. It's kind of fun. He refuses to have hot lunch and stuff like that because he just knows that it's just gross. So I think they've had more energy. I've seen my kids doing more even too. And I don't know, like even physically, like maybe because Saturday's kind of our family day to do that stuff,
Mhm.
maybe I'm even more active during the week, like being out in the yard or taking my daughter on a bike ride or something, maybe more active even during the week. I don't know if it's affected our weekends too much just because my husband's such a pusher of that, but I don't drag my feet quite as much.
That's awesome. So how did you get your kids to start eating the way you are?
Well, the hardest one is my 3-year-old, to be really honest, because
Hmm.
she's just very picky. But they eat more carbohydrates than I do. But it's been kind of fun trying to find new things that are not processed. So for instance, I make our whole wheat bread that we eat and pancakes. But the thing is, they've just gotten used to it. I mean, at first they kind of did rebel. We don't want this. And occasionally I do buy them a little something that they crave. But
Uh-huh.
it's enough for them to have one serving and move on. But I think they're just finding that they like the food just as well. Yeah, it took them a while. Someone kind of were like, I don't like this. I want this. But after a while, I think they just realized it wasn't going to be in our house and they had to learn to deal with it. And if they were hungry, just to tell mom and I'd get them more food. I have an 8-year old who's 80 pounds. He's a big kid
Uh-huh.
and he's always hungry. And so he's kind of had to learn, to eat more fruits and vegetables or go find something that they can be happy with. But it hasn't been as hard as I thought it would be, to be really honest. Once it was gone, they haven't really asked for it as much as I thought they would.
Okay. Was it maybe difficult at the very beginning, like the first couple weeks, and
Yeah,
after that it was pretty good?
yeah,
Okay.
I would say that.
Okay, and the reason why I ask is because that's probably one of the biggest concerns I get from people, especially when I ask them to start cleaning their kitchen out and start putting good food in and leaving some of the not as good foods in the house. A lot of them will say, "Well, but I've got this teenager or I've got this young kid who is just really picky and they struggle with that." And personally, I have picky eaters in my house also. At least they were when we first started, but now, their picky eating is apples and celery, so they're okay with it now. But like you, it was a struggle at the beginning, but it's not that long of a struggle usually. It usually seems like it's maybe
No,
just a
it
couple
really
weeks.
isn't. I would totally agree with that. It really is not a very long struggle. And part of it is just that you have to be a little bit creative. So,
Hmm.
for instance, I mean, because my kids aren't watching their carbs, like I am, maybe. So, like, I know, like, when they have hamburgers and I put on a homemade whole wheat bun, then I'm having a hamburger salad. Or when
Uh-huh.
they have tacos on their homemade tortillas, then I'm having a taco salad, and I don't know. They don't really miss things like sour cream. They do occasionally have cheese, that's not too processed or things like that, but they really don't they don't complain about it as much as they did at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And it
Uh,
really was very short-lived.
that's awesome. And honestly, I think you're doing something perfect because kids do need more carbohydrates as they're growing up.
Yeah.
As we get to a certain age, we don't need as many. Um, but I think you're doing perfect. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, Brooke, or another question I've got for you. So the I'm opening up the Bod-e-Volv coaching program for a new group of women in there probably about a month or so from now. And I know there's a lot of people who are kind of interested in it. I get a lot of emails, a lot of people asking questions, but some of them are kind of sitting on the fence. And what would you say to them to kind of help them make their decision?
Okay. Well, I think, I've had a lot of people approach me who have noticed the changes in my life, and they are always thinking it's some miracle thing. And I'm always like, well, it's diet and exercise. But I think a couple things are my husband's always really impressed with the videos. He's always like, wow, I can't believe he does that every day. And it is so helpful just to have a little bit more information every day rather than being bombarded with, I got to do all this stuff all at once. And the other thing is, I just think that I'm really learning good habits that I'm going to be able to incorporate throughout the rest of my life instead of feeling like I have to always do something big all at once.
Hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like the body program has really taught me that, like little habits that will stay with me throughout my life that will help myself and my family and our eating and our health. So
That's awesome.
I don't know if that's helpful or not, but
No,
that's if you're on the line, I really do think it's beneficial because it's something that will last forever. I mean, I've used trainers before and it's way more expensive. And the other thing was with my first trainer was he was like, as long as you eat right, you don't really need me. But then he never taught me how to eat right.
uh-huh.
And and even at the end when I was like, well, I don't know what to do to exercise, he never taught me those things. I just felt like it was cut off, and then I was on my own, and I felt really lost. But I don't think I'll feel that way as much this time.
Uh-huh. And my hope is because, for me in the past, I would have clients that would lose a lot of weight, leave, and then a year or so later they'd come back and they've gained some weight back. So my hope was with you is when I meet you in a year or 2 years down the road, that you're still doing everything, that you're still
Right.
feeling good and you're still continuing on.
Yeah, and I really do think that the way the program is set up, that's going to be an easier thing to do. Sorry, this is my daughter.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'll see you in just a minute.
Well,
So, but yeah, I think that that's true, and it is easy to do something, like I said before, and then stop. I mean, I've done P90X, I've done Eating for Life, I've done all those things, but it doesn't really teach you habits. It's all about all or nothing kind of thing, and then when it's over, usually you see yourself gaining weight.
uh-huh. Yeah, it,
So,
it seems like something you've got to just do forever. It needs to be a lifestyle change, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, I don't want to keep you forever, so I will, I guess we'll end this now, and thanks for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
The Bod-e-Volv transformation program is currently closed, but you're in luck. We're getting really close to opening the doors again for this life-changing program for a new group of women. Are you going to be one of the next success stories? That decision is entirely up to you, but I'm here to help you out. Just enter your email below and I'll let you know when the next Bod-e-Volv transformation program starts. Thanks for watching. This is John Gibson and I'm out.